This is one of my most complimented watches, and I am talking about getting compliments both from watch enthusiasts as well as people who don't care about watches at all. Because this one has an original design, a curved sapphire crystal, custom movement, and is from an award winning international brand. Problems with skeleton watches is brands just remove the dial and call the watch skeleton, and you see the movement as it is, and the movement is not supposed to be seen that way. But this one is different because it is designed very well and it looks very premium on the wrist. And make sure that you're watching till the end because I will also talk about after sales support, which is very important if you're purchasing a watch like this. Sit back and relax. The video starts in 3, 2, 1. Alright, today we are reviewing the Sega Design Hunter, a mechanical piece that's bold, minimal, and very thoughtful once you spend time with it. This one isn't just a movement placed inside a case, the design and the movement were created together to look visually connected. Everything from the bridges to the screws to the case architecture feels like part of the same design language. When it comes to Sega design, what really stands out is how they've managed to create truly original, award-winning timepieces that combine high-quality materials and craftsmanship, all while keeping the prices far more accessible than most of their competition. They were actually the first Chinese brand to win a GPHG award, which is basically the Oscars of watchmaking for their Blue Planet watch. For people who are not aware, the watches at the GPHG are judged by a diverse panel of experts known as the GPHG Academy. This group includes hundreds of professionals from across the global watch industry. Watchmakers, designers, journalists, collectors, and retailers who nominate and vote for the best timepieces of the year. It's a highly respected, industry-wide process that makes the GPHG the most credible and prestigious watch award in the world. Sega really nails the first impression with its unboxing. The watch comes in a minimalist presentation box that opens like a hardcover book. I don't usually care much about packaging, but this one feels premium, especially if you're gifting it to someone, it will really count. Each page tells you a bit about the design philosophy, and on the final page, you find your watch. The case of the Sega Design Hunter is made from 316L stainless steel. It is corrosion resistant, perfect for everyday use. Now, the version I have here is a matte black DLC coated variant. There are two more options, a silver and a carbon variant. Now let's talk about that finish because it's not a paint. The surface of the case is sandblasted, which means ultra fine sand particles are blasted onto the metal to smooth out imperfections. It gives the steel a soft, matte texture that diffuses light beautifully. This process hides fingerprints and reflections, making it feel very premium when you hold it and see it in person. After sandblasting, this black version receives a DLC coating, which stands for diamond-like carbon. It's a high-tech process which makes the surface extremely scratch-resistant and gives it that rich, deep black tone. So sandblasting gives it texture while DLC gives it color, depth, and protection. That's why the finished look feels so refined. The case shape itself is quite interesting, a tonneau-style body with an octagonal frame on top held by visible screws. The edges are hand-polished, so when light hits, you get a beautiful contrast between the matte and shine. On the front, you have a curved sapphire crystal which is extremely scratch-resistant and seamlessly flows with the shape of the case. On the back, we have a mineral crystal that gives you a clear view of the movement inside. This mix, sandblasted 316L steel, DLC coating, sapphire glass, is something you rarely find even in watches twice the price. Now let's talk about the movement. Inside beats Sega's own CD07 automatic movement, which is made in-house. It runs at 28,000 vibrations per hour, has 24 joules, and gives you around 40 hours of power reserve. On paper, the accuracy is rated between -15 to +25 seconds a day. But wearing this for a week, I rarely saw any noticeable difference in the accuracy of my time. The rotor is shaped like an anchor. That's a symbolic touch representing steadiness and balance, something you don't usually find in micro-brand level movements. They have really put in the effort to make their in-house movement reliable. And most brands charge a premium when they go this deep into designing and testing their own movement. Now, since it is a skeleton watch, there isn't a traditional dial. What you see is the movement itself. The mechanical heart is on full display. The hands are skeletonized too, polished and finished with green lume tips. Those luminous tips make a big difference. You can actually read the time even in low light, which is rare for most skeleton watches. Lume is practical too, not very bright, but seems pretty useful. It also has minute markers, so you can tell the time precisely at a glance. The balance wheel sitting slightly recessed near the bottom keeps moving constantly. It just gives this living, breathing feel on the wrist, which I absolutely love. That combination of legibility and design balance is where the Hunter truly stands out. Now let's see how all of this translates into real world usage. On the wrist, it measures 43 wide, 48mm lug to lug, and about 11.7mm thick. But it sits on the wrist pretty well. But if your wrist size is below 6.5 inches, I think it might look a little bigger on your wrist. The bracelet is 22mm wide, which tapers down to 18mm. It comes with a quick release mechanism, so swapping straps is easy. You don't need any tool for that. The watch is pretty solid, not too heavy, not too light, and sits pretty balanced on the wrist. You can easily wear it daily or pair it with a jacket. It fits both streetwear and formal looks easily. Now in everyday use, the DLC coating holds up really well against scratches, but like any matte surface, it can pick up fingerprints or oil if you have oily skin, especially near the crown area or near the bracelet. A quick wipe with a microfiber cloth fixes it instantly though. The watch has 30 meters of water resistance, which is fine for indoor or office use, but I do wish it had at least 50 just for that added versatility, especially in Indian conditions, but I'm not sure that the design would allow that. One more thing, I would have honestly loved half links or some sort of micro adjustments on the bracelet. It could be a hit and a miss getting the size right for this metal bracelet. If you're spending good amount of money on a watch, you will definitely think about the after sales service. So the good part here is Ethos watch boutiques in India are authorized Sega retailers. They provide full warranty and service support and can even source parts directly from the brand. So owning and maintaining this watch is completely stress-free. At around 41,000 for the black DLC and 36,000 for the silver version, the Hunter sits in a very interesting zone. You're paying for original design, excellent finishing, and a custom in-house movement that feels alive on the wrist. You rarely see this level of detail in any watch under 50,000 rupees. It feels like something that definitely belongs in a much higher price bracket. The Sega Design Hunter is a mechanical sculpture that happens to tell time. It's a watch you will find people asking about because of how unique it looks and feels. The finishing, the design, and the philosophy behind it all combine beautifully. It stands out quietly, not loud, not generic, and that's exactly what Sega Design stands for, standing out by design.